Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the WCW Saturday Night Review series for the 14th of August, 1993. Shortened show, just about 40 minutes. Um, Summer 93, not very good at all. We do start with a cool bit of a match, though. A uh, match with Dick Slater, who doesn't make sense to me, and Bobby Eaton. I guess Benoit might not be on this taping or whatever, against an interesting individual in the form, or interesting team in the form of Anderson and Roma, the new Horseman tag representation. Um, just cool in the sense that I'm not as cold on Roma as a horseman as I used to be. Certainly not the best horseman by far. Paul Roma in a main role just never fit for me. But anyway, Arn Anderson ducking out of the way. By the way, if you're not a listener to Arn's podcast, you probably should be. Hollywood Blonde's out to mock the Horsemen as they've had issues with Flair and Anderson. Now going to have issues with Roma and Anderson going forward. I'm dragged by Paul Roma on Bobby Eaton. Eaton cuts Roma off for a bit. There's a good bit of kind of, I don't know, maybe consternation or challenge as it relates to things there. But anyway, suffice to say, there's, the cutoff by Roma of Eaton, and Anderson comes back in. Of course, Anderson and Eaton been involved with each other for a couple of years between pre and during Dangerous Alliance era stuff. Um, Needless to say, we have the wonder that is um, uh, the Arn Anderson run. Hard shots and basic stuff. Neckbreaker by Bobby Eaton. Eaton not willing to take a terribly beneficial backward step. Double clothesline by the heels. And Anderson eventually hits Eaton with a spine buster, gets a victory there. We continue to see pump between Rude and Rhodes. Rhodes doing the majority of the pumping. They pump the idea of the Clash of Champions upcoming, promoting all the matches associated with it. And then we kind of go to Yoshi Kwan with Harley Race in another match. They're kind of trying to overdoing, in my opinion, the martial arts deal with Kwan, but it is what it is. Brad Armstrong, his opponent here, and Armstrong's job is to make Kwan look good, and he succeeds there. Hammerlocks and basic stuff by Kwan. Tie up and other basic stuff. Kick off there. And again, hard shots by Kwan, and ultimately tie ups and some shots. Jump leg round kick, and again, you know, Kwan manages to hype the idea of his martial arts background. Match is shorter than you imagine. Jump leg round kick, kicking Brad Armstrong up the side of the head. Not anything terrible to wonder about there. Kwan gets the victory. Flair comes out and challenges the Colossal Kongs, Harley Race. Harley Race gets up in Flair's face, pushes Flair a couple times. Flair decks him, and we go into the Kwans issues with Flair. Sting out next in an enhancement match here. Sting in 1993, considering where he was 12 months before in 92, really has fallen. It's kind of sad, actually. Sting doing enhancement matches just for the sake of having things to do when he's the top babyface for the company. It just doesn't make sense to me. But again, WCW's booking at the time changing committees so often that I think it was hard for them to stay consistent, if we're completely honest. A couple of power moves and the Stinger Splash and the Scorpion Deathlock. Sting gets a victory there. More hype on the idea of the Fall Brawl War Games thing coming up in September. British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith also mentioning that he's going to have a rematch at the Clash with Vader. Sid comes in and demolishes an enhancement talent here. Punch kick, basic stuff, sends her to the outside. Does the hot shot across the guardrail, which does not look like fun or pleasant to take at any rate of notation there. Anyway, Sid sends him over the top rope and back into the ring, and certainly Sid does his damage there. Ric Flair out again as the NWA champion, basically asks Sting to be his partner. Sting admits they've had their problems in the past, but wanting to get rid of the Kongs is a bigger thing. There's a confrontation between those four men in ring before we go to our television main event. Mr. Wonderful teaming with William Regal, a.k.a. Steve Regal at the time, Lord Steven Regal. I actually like the Lord Steven name better than William, but I think it had to do with Steve Austin at the time. And Max Payne also on the heel side. Steamboat is in the ring with Orndorff at the time. 6-man tags just to fill time. Do not thrill me by any stretch of the imagination, but they are what they are. Obviously, Johnny B. Bad, part of that. Fans having Paula signs. I don't know whether they're piped in or what that is. Bagwell is here as well. Anyway, cut off by the heels for the majority of time. Hyping, or at least pushing towards a more consistent communication and confrontation between Steamboat and Regal, I think, is where we're going. Cut off to a tag. Bagwell comes in. Bagwell wearing yellow and purple. Interesting combination of colors there. Anyway, misses the drop of the elbow there. Scorpio comes in, makes the tag. So they're trying to give, I think, Scorpio and Bagwell the rub of being in there with the team of Bagwell and friends. And again, kind of getting Scorpio backs up Orndorff. Orndorff, I believe, still your television champion here. Cut off by Max Payne on Scorpio. A couple of kicks, a couple of basic things, nothing to write home about, but the heels take the majority of the match. Meanwhile, Steamboat and Orndorff, who have been feuding a little bit, go to the outside. Nothing really gets settled up there. Steamboat comes back in via the top rope, hits a crossbody. I believe he's still a legal man. 1, 2, 3, and gets a victory for his team to close this particular program. Actually, the last thing is the admission that, in fact, Sting and Flair will face the Kongs at the Clash as a tag team themselves. But that will close us out from here. We'll be back with more right after this.